So we will touch upon another example, of course, in greater detail to even follow the story what I just gave on Chiche back in September, which obviously all of you guys probably watched in the world already multiple times. And then the Chiyu example I gave of literally today, like Friday. And now what you're going to do, we go back to Chiche, right, and see if it's something different here, as it was half a year ago, 5 years ago, or even today. So let's see. What we will do though, we choose another day to wrap things a little bit up, right? So what we're going to do is we're taking this day of here, the 16th of February, and we will do some analysis there. So first things first, of course, also the guidelines of the Lithiverse, we start if the higher time frame approaches, right? You already can see, okay, the only thing we can see in this scenario already, which is important for us, that we're breaking out of Asia range high here. And of course, we can expect at least some sort of imbalances filled after build up inducement into what? Into mitigation of London time frames, right? So you already can understand, okay, in these areas, so starting from 9 to, of course, our time buffer for like an hour, right? Can be always a little bit off, so let's not do that. So then we see, okay, where's technically our next imbalance zone, or where's our next inducement zone? So already we see, okay, interesting. We have already this inducement of this push in here, but obviously our mitigation zone is huge. The only question is, how can we know where's the next imbalance fill? And the answer is we can, because if it reach up here, all in London, that's very unlikely, as you see, right? So what we can do instead, we're just taking the 50% of it. Obviously, we will never run a limit order based on that. We just need to understand what's going on. So we're taking the imbalance here until the next, before the next pullback area. So this whole imbalance from here to here, just for understanding purposes, right? And we could see, okay, so we have at least some room until these areas, okay? So these purple line, 50% of the imbalance fill, right? Okay, obviously just for understanding purposes. So now what we have to do, or should do, we're fulfilling, again, as always, the minor cycles. So we have this little inducement push in Frankfurt Open, okay? So we understand, okay, that's a Frankfurt Open inducement, and we at least can aim for the next liquidity areas. In this scenario, what is it? Before London, obviously this equal lows should be taken out after this minor inducement, but then still we have a lot of room to filling these imbalance zones. So that's probably not the move that will utilize the whole new down scenario, right? Because it's Frankfurt Open and they probably save these pushes for the main session, which is of course London session. But anyways, now we're having a minor cycle as always, and we can obviously take advantage of that. So what we can do already, where's my pen? So what we already can do, we understand, okay, so this is a medium inducement already, but of course we still have upside action or upside space we obviously want to utilize. The only question is, if that's a medium inducement, it obviously should not go like this and then higher. What should it do instead? It of course should induce high. Obviously breakout traders getting induced long because it's a medium inducement. And where are these stop losses? Guessed it. Of course, below the next equal low zone or these strong support zones, of course, right? But then obviously having in mind that we just want to grab these breakout traders high, then utilizing the whole push in London, and then fulfilling the 50% of the higher time frame imbalances, and then fulfill the daily cycle with the build-up, inducement, medium inducement, right? Or in this case, already medium inducement, mitigation, higher time frames, break of structures, and then we have the daily cycle completed, and we aim for what? You guessed it, at least Asia low, and then we can see if the cycle is fulfilled or not. So easy stuff. So what we will do first, things first, we playing the picture of how it is. Build up, right? So now medium inducement, Frankfurt Open session, perfect. The next thing, of course, we want is to grab liquidity low in order to take these breakout traders out of their positions long, right? So what do? We obviously wait for confirmation. So now we already see if this is the push that led to the new higher highs or the inducement. Technically, we're having our break of structure in place. Obviously, what's the push that led to the break of structure? It is this minor pushes in here or minor push in here, right, with the imbalance zone. Okay, so if you tap into the, and potentially even a lat, which we technically, fair enough, closely have, we would have a minor cycle completed. If you obviously want to see a clearer lat than that, that's completely fine. We will say, oh, that's not a lat, that's fine. And okay, then you would see, oops, okay. Also, even now you're having your clean lat entry, right? Of course, you just have to understand that we probably aim for higher directions in order to fulfill the higher time frame purpose with all these huge imbalance areas. But we still understand, okay, that probably our direction will be short. Now we're just playing the Frankfurt inducement play, and we can at least aim for these 1 to 6 plays, right? Whatever. Stop loss a little bit higher in terms of the spread and whatnot, you know, all the nonsense, right? Okay, awesome, perfect. So what we can do in this sense, after this major minor play is done, now we're having the inducement low. We could understand, now it's London Open. We still have so much imbalance areas left. So maybe at least let me take this position at break even if I'm not sure if this will be the whole push that will lead to the Asia range low. Let me at least partial out of that, or at least make a break even position in the scenarios. Okay, so that's the two options you have in this scenario, because you can maybe think, okay, it goes all the way down to Asia range low, perfect, and London, whatever, will be in the middle. But usually, of course, they do these major pushes in London. Okay, so let's say we just partial out here, whatever, and what we see now. Okay, we have break of structures again after what? Break of structure after inducement. So technically, what should tell you that? We're right in front of London, open, and now we're having this another cycle play to down. So we have equal lows, we took it out of the inducement, now we're having break of structure. So what's the next thing that could happen in these scenarios? Of course, mitigation, and we're aiming for new, obviously, higher highs, because guess what? We took out these breakout traders, which took out this zone in here, and they are long. Where were the stop losses? They were right below here. Now we took them out. Now we can go higher, induce high, low to go higher. When do we do it? London areas. So now London Open is right around the corner. So we could understand, okay, this would technically fulfill the directional change. Of course, we can expect a little pullback, but then, of course, higher, because, of course, we want to go higher to fill imbalances and then make the play in London areas. So at this point, you should understand, oh shit, break of structure high, London Open right around the corner. Right now, technically, we should induce high, even technically more, do the whole cycle again. And after it's done inducing high, we look for potential reversals and then can aim at Asia low. Okay, so what do? We obviously will never pick the high in any sense. So first of all, we watch, okay, so this position is worst case break even, right? But if you understand it, you partial out here, and maybe you held it until Asia low because you were not sure, maybe. Okay, not a problem. Now you understand a London Open is literally right now. What's the huge thing you should never ever do? You should never ever pick the some sort of high. You should not say, oh my god, no, vector candle, let me take a short here. Oh, vector candle, oh, another one. Oh, let me take a short here. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Another vector candle, let me take a short now. Oh, no. So that's what you should never, ever do. You wait until they clearly show you some sort of break of structures. And again, that's not a clear break of structure, because why is that not a clear break of structure? Because you're not playing from a higher time frame supply zone yet, because you're just having a huge imbalance. You can't play these major or these minor break of structures if that, for example, would tap into a 1 hour supply zone, for example, you find it. then it would make sense if it's a little minor break of structure, maybe having a balance here, maybe having a let, whatever, but nothing here is like that. You don't have like an entry helper confirmation, you don't have like a 1 hour zone, you don't have nothing. So you need to wait for clear break of structures after the London inducement is done, because we should never pick a random reversal trade, right? We just only have this understanding that they should maybe go to the 50% of the imbalance at least, but obviously they can aim for the whole mitigation fills. But now we're on a time window and we're reaching the 50% fills, okay? But obviously not enough to take a trade at all, right? And also here, this buy trade obviously only would be possible if what? You would have this build-up and then an inducement into this mitigation and maybe with a let. Then you could have taken it, but obviously that never happened. So that would be technically your fast and fortuitous trade. Obviously, in this sense, the London inducement trade, high, right? So what's the next thing we do? Of course, we just wait until they're done inducing high, because we never know. We cannot pick a random point where they might reverse, right? So now we're just having this channel build up, and now these whatever vector candles even to the high side. We can check slowly but surely. Okay, we're entering. Oh, technically already we are filling the 50% right there. So now, okay, still we don't do anything. We just wait for what? Clear break of structures. Oops. And technically now we would have clear break of structures. That now is a clear break of structure. Not like this in here, because again, we never played off a valid 1 hour supply area. Right, so we only can play the structure and the cycle in this scenario. So what's now the extreme mitigation area after the break of structure? You could have taken this imbalance zone from this point starting here, or if you refine it to the extreme, it would be like this candle, right? Technically the imbalance is from here to here, right? So we can understand that already only now after a break of structure. And guess what? Even the entry helper confirms slowly the push into the other side direction, right? So we're having this change of characters slowly. Okay, so best case scenario, we tap into these scenarios after break of structure, after the London inducement is done. We're having our medium inducement already. Now we're fulfilling the 50% of the higher time frames after our cycle is done. Build up, inducement, vector candles into the 1 hour half imbalance fill, and now we're having a break of structure. Perfect. So now we can just wait what's going on here. And we already see they're not filled these areas, which is technically not a bad thing. It even can be a good thing. Why? This obviously can help for inducements later. So they're grabbing the inducement and then fulfill the mitigation. Would be even nicer. That's what they do all the time. But what do we understand at this point already? If this would actually be a play they want to play, so let's say we're having finally our build-up in London, inducement, fulfilling something on a higher time frame, 50% of the imbalance areas. Now we're having break of structures. The only thing we look for is obviously extreme mitigation for our first entry opportunity. Now we see the build-up of the liquidity. We have an imbalance left, so we can expect a mitigation. But now we play it obviously in order, and what do we see? We have Asia high, we have an imbalance zone. And of course, if they want to go higher to induce these zones, that obviously is a smart money trap, but we can understand, okay, that they may be going into here, faking the reversal to make even continuation traders and all these breakout traders will of course break and retest whatever, excited about the moves and give a strong reaction. But to do what? The original move is to induce and mitigate and then potentially go lower or even way lower. Obviously Asia low for the intraday perspective. Nothing new. We went over the scenarios hundreds of times. The only thing that changes, obviously, slight variations. Is it not to the minute? Is there something to the 1 hour not clear? But the rest is always the same. The timings, the whatnot, everything is the same. And even if we check, for example, let me remove my pen. So if we check even the timings, of course, we already see Magic Manipulation 1. Look what happened here. Obviously, the best case scenario would be that they manipulate price even higher to tap these imbalance areas. But guess what? They did not, right? So, okay, fair enough. But at least we understand that this would be an area we would look for. So now we're entering slowly these Asia highs with the imbalance areas, but we understand that is most likely a smart money trap. because of course our cycle to the upside could be fulfilled with the medium inducement, build up inducement into higher time frame imbalance areas. Now valid break of structure. Of course, we can expect some pullbacks at some point. Oops. Okay. And they don't even want us to see. Okay, there we go. Back into action. So of course, we can just wait to see the plays, what they do. And what do we see now? What's going on here? Perfect. We already see the build-up, right? So, and if you break it into a more fractal play, what is going to be technically this? That technically on a fractal play would be your smart money trap into mitigation, but obviously on the bigger picture, let me draw that. So on the smaller picture, that is your smart money trap into inducement mitigation for reaction. But on a bigger picture play, that zone, of course, is also a smart money trap. So now we're playing the fractals into the fractals, I hope that makes sense, right? Because it's the same thing all over again. So now what we have is just a buildup of this fake smart money trap into now buildup inducement of Asia high, obviously just for the next areas, liquidity areas, into the bigger play mitigation areas, and then we're fulfilling the play downwards for the major plays. So now we're understanding at least the fractal cycles. Okay, so what's going on here? Another build-up, triple bottom, oh my god, right? Perfect. There's your inducement into now for the fractal play, the valid mitigation zone, because the build-up inducement into mitigation of a valid liquidity zone, which is Asia high. But for the bigger picture play, we're having our major inducement here, or medium inducement to the left. We're filling the 1 hour zone, build-up, timing, break of structure. Now we're having the new play. We want to fulfill these mitigation areas. So inducement into mitigation. That would be the ideal scenario. Now we're having this fractal play. And obviously we can expect these pullback areas, right? So what's the only thing we do? You're waiting for what? Internal break of structures here maybe, right? And then potentially we can wait for LETs to order to take this little pullback trade if you really wanted to, right? So there's technically your LET entry. So technically, again, if you wanted to fulfill this little pullback trade, which obviously is not recommended just for understanding purposes, you could take this little pullback trade by obviously like this maybe, right? But of course, that is just optional and not the ideal play. It's just for understanding purposes. And let's say, okay, it's not bad to have a 1 to 6 also to fulfill the bigger picture play. And now we're having this arrow again. Okay, so too much sauce here. Right? Okay. So back we are. So taps in, perfect. And technically now it's very, very juicy, right? They're faking it, whatever, they're faking it. And obviously this becomes what? The smart money trap for the people that always look for sells, right? Because they want to trade these continuation trades and obviously look for these imbalance zones. But now they're getting a false reaction. We understand the cycle was done, build up inducement into mitigation out of Asia high, but they're only aiming for the next liquidity area to fulfill the extreme mitigations of the bigger cycle play. Okay, so what's going on? Take profit goes on. Perfect. And now it's the same thing. Look at it. Huge candles, now obviously relatively big, creating obviously the excitement, whatever, another zone that gets obviously induced, but obviously now the bigger picture would be the mitigation of these extremes, and then we're looking for shorts, right? So guess what? Taps in. So, and for me personally, this would be too big in terms of stop loss zone. So I would not be interested, because guess what? You probably have a lot of other entry opportunities, right? So if you want to trade this limit order of here and having a big stop, that's completely fine. It's a legit point, but we can even play it more safe, obviously, and wait for more confirmations like entry helper, break of structures, and whatnot. So let's just say we wait, and we already would have this minor break of structure, right? This is the push that led to the new highs that tapped into the imbalance areas. This is a minor break of structure. Perfect. Not much in terms of entry helper, so you even can wait more. for more clarity, okay? But obviously, the more advanced you can get, or whatever, you can open maybe a position here, put your stop off above here, or open a position here and put your stop above here. That's totally valid plays, right? But obviously, we can wait for more confirmations. Like, guess what? We have a lot. Fulfilling the Litiverse, what's the next thing in line? Magic Manipulation 2 for an optimal time for enter the trade. So let's see, it's right down there. Okay, so what can we do? Obviously, we're just waiting. Okay, nothing too crazy going on here. Okay, completely fine. But now we're entering slowly the Magic Manipulation minutes. Perfect. And there we are, Magic Manipulation minutes. But obviously, you will not enter right here. So what do we see and what do we do? We just wait for what? Maybe inducement high. Perfect. Right, so inducing whatever, these little structure areas. And now we're getting closer to obviously this order block scenarios right here, right? And whatever. Again, nothing is really clear in these scenarios, but just for argument's sake, we can take these order block scenarios here, right? Or whatever, imbalance areas or whatever, this IFC candles, whatever you want to call it. But you want to take some sort of supply areas in here at obviously the structure inducement here, and then maybe going lower. Guess what it is also? We're having our first let here, which is very low, and even a second let here. So what we can do, we check the 5 minute, for example, if there's anything going on, and oh, what a surprise. There we have our 5 minute let also in this candle, which also tapped into these supply areas. So perfect. That's 5 minute confirmed. That's bigger picture cycle confirmed. Guess what? Build-ups, medium inducement, faking inducement one more time, and check our illustration, which we always give you. We always give you this picture. Inducement, let's even make it like this, even more clean, and check our illustrations again, because we literally give you that stuff all over again. So it's inducement here, inducement low, and then the final inducement, and then we can look for here, here, and that's it. And then obviously we can potentially look for reversal trades in here, in New York trap time. It's the same thing again, and then they ends off. That's our starter kit and our always confirmed rule set base for the picture perfect daily cycle plays, right? So we should not be surprised that we have a medium inducement here, faking the inducement low to go even higher, channeling upwards in London, inducement, fulfilling the 50% fill of the imbalance. Right, perfect. Now we're having break of structures. Now we're coming back to the extreme. We tap that. Now we're having internal break of structures here. And finally our 5 minute let even here. Perfect. So what can we do? We obviously look for entry opportunities, right? If you don't like this one, completely fine. Let's see if we have nicer ones. Okay. So, okay, now we are making new lower lows. So now maybe we can take the order flow, because technically what we have, equal lows in here. That's the push. Obviously led to the break. Perfect. We can take the order flow. Where's the order flow in the scenarios? You guessed it. It would be right here. Right. So now we're taking the order flow away from the major cycle. Perfect. And now we could have a clean trade opportunity. But of course, we can understand this trade if you would have taken it. We also could, maybe this is a not clean trade, but again, Magic Manipulation minutes of the lets, 5 minute let also. But now we're just trading the order flow, equal lows. That's the push that led to the new equal lows being broken, forming imbalances, comes back. And obviously, entry burn not really confirms that one. So let's see. What's the next thing in line though? So now, first of all, this position has obviously so much potential, because we're aiming for the valid cycle to be fulfilled for Asia range low. So 1 to 20, not bad at all. So what's Litiverse confirmation, the next thing in line? What is it? EDM trades. EDM trades. We have our extreme, we have our extreme mitigation, we have our let entry, technically here, or we have the order flow in this scenario. The next thing in line is an EDM trade. So guess what? Same thing as always. They're faking another one, another build-up. Perfect. Easy, easy smart money trap. Right? Perfect. And now guess what? What's the next thing in line? Our rule-based scenario. Look at how even giving you again a freaking quadruple bottom. Juicy, juicy, juicy becomes all liquidity. For what? For what? For what? Next imbalance zone, right? So what is it? If it taps into here, whatever, like this maybe, right? So again, hopefully you understand that it can back up here. And what's the next rule set scenario? That's again not a let. We already had the lets and whatnot. So why would you even take a trade here? It makes no sense. You need a proper mitigation anyways, right? So guess what? The next thing in line. Oh. What do we see? It taps. And what's also going on? Finally, we have almost close enough, fair enough. Okay, goes a little bit higher. Yeah, so we can consider this now as our EDM, rule-based inline, extreme mitigation, let entry, order flow, and then EDM trade in that order. So technically, again, that's something we could take for sure as well, right? Let's say whatever, we took in this one and maybe this one took another break even. Then again, you should understand, oh shit, it only came back because again, fulfilling the order flow, also the mitigation, also it's an EDM coming from the smart money trap, of course, faking the reversal. Now we have huge liquidity, quadruple bottoms of the Asia high, and of course, we can expect the major reaction now. Yeah, hopefully that's very, very clear at this point. And of course, we aim at least, again, for Asia low as a liquidity target. Okay, and guess what? That's what's going on. And the funny thing is, what's the next thing in our Litiverse rule set? Next timing is what? New York trap time. 3 o'clock, and we should see something going on here, right? So guess what? To the absolute minute, ladies and gentlemen. Like, can it be more perfect? Can it be more clean? Can it be more structured? Of course, we cannot run a random, whatever, limit order in here, but we understand it is an inducement. And guess what? After the inducement, we have what? Our next imbalance area, right? So now internal inducement. Now timing is to the absolute minute. We tap just. There's your internal break of structures. That's the push that led to the mitigation zone, right? Of course, not as clean, but of course, the more you understand it, the easier it becomes to take these trades. So technically, that's your last demand candle in here. So technically now after the break of structure, it taps into, but let's say you want even entry helper confirmations. What would it be? Goes over, right? And now we can wait for what? We can wait for our let entry based on this one maybe, right? And there you go. Okay, not the nicest let, but you get my point. Everything is the same thing. Of course, it's not clean always, all the time. Nobody even says that. And obviously that's highly expected and it's not clean all the time. But guess what? To the absolute minute, internal break of structure. Now you're having the last demand area, gets fulfilled, now comes back, forms imbalances, makes new higher highs, gives you the let entry of the minute, coming off a perfectly fulfilled daily cycle. That's something you should understand. Where should we aim for? At least, of course, these next liquidity areas, right? So we should aim for a new grabbing these points, or if you're not sure, then just aim for this. Always that's safer. For example, you say 1 to 7 or 1 to 8, one risk it's not worth for, like let's say you say that, for example, not worth for me taking it, it's completely fine. And just aim for this, or even like obviously that's a very easy smart money trap, for example. But let's say you think, okay, maybe inducement into mitigation, but obviously no, should grab liquidity. But let's say you're aiming for 1 to 7, not bad at all, right? So not bad at all. So what's going on? Okay, perfect. The only thing which is going on missing is EDMs. We don't have EDMs in here. So completely fine. If you don't have, they obviously put nice to have. So now, guess what they're doing? They're faking the smart money trap again. What a surprise. If that's an EDM trade, we could take it long. It's not. Okay, now it tubes. Okay. So technically, if that's an EDM, again, you can take aim for the liquidity. But let's see if it is an EDM. No, so we don't do anything. Still okay. So now it's even nice. Yeah, okay. And there you go. Finally, this target gets hit, but obviously at this point you should understand, okay, we should aim for high liquidity higher. And there you go. Okay. Everything rule based fulfilled. So the only thing next in line, obviously, we see now we created these liquidity areas. It's getting late into the day, so that can technically work for your equal lows into inducement and balance area. So the only thing next in line is what? Of course, London close, right? So London close would be the mitigation, right? And the only thing left we need is EDM trades. Whoops. So guess what? What a surprise. Taps into these imbalance areas. What is it? An EDM. What a surprise. That was the only thing which was missing. So guess what? We even can aim higher. Okay. So let's say you close this one at 128. Is it worth to take one risk on that one just to fulfill the plays and the EDMs to go even whatever to aim like one more higher? Okay, 124, technically not, but let's say we just understand it, what's going on. Let's see. Okay, taps even one more time, maybe even a break-even position, not a problem, just for understanding purposes. And okay, day technically is over. Let's see what's going on. Okay, makes a new high. Perfect. No, doesn't even make a new high. Okay, now it does. Okay. So just for understanding purposes, right? So it's the same shit all over again. New York trap time, perfect. Taps into the demand area after the inducement, after the daily cycle is confirmed. Guess what? Huge vector candles faking the Asia low, whatever, give a false reaction, then induces it. Taps into the internal break of structures, mitigates the lost demand area, then comes back, gives you another imbalance area, comes back here, gives you this whatever semi let whatever you need to take what's there, not what you wish, whatever could happen. The next thing in line is of course EDM trades. There you have it, and makes new higher highs. Perfect. And that's how you end the day off. It's the same stuff. Check it. It's the same stuff. Isn't the cycle exactly the same to the absolute perfection? Nothing had changed. Check all the bases, check all the checklists. It's literally to the minute. It's literally always the same. The only challenge, of course, was in here, as it was a little bit off timing. There was not a clean supply area in this sense, but we have breaker structures into the extreme internal breaker structures. Let's on the 5 order flow entries, EDMs, fulfilling the mitigation, smart money traps, and of course, then the daily cycle is fulfilled. Perfectly aiming for Asia lows, tapping into the demand areas, internal break of structures, mitigation, gives a 1 minute let, and then next thing in line, EDMs off when should it happen to the minute in London close, and that's the day ended. Yeah, any questions about that? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. And the funny thing is, guess what? As I showed you earlier in the other 2 videos, the first breakdown we did was a half a year ago about the cycle play and GJ. Now it's half a year later. It's still the same exact stuff. Get that to your head. Trade with confidence. There's no excuses. Trade with confidence. You have everything you need. You just need to make sure that you understand that you're trading a very, very, very highly confirmed strategy, which is always the same. You need to enable your confidence, and you need to get your confidence, and you deserve to be a very, very good trader and understand these pushes, okay? And need to understand that you can do it 100%. A lot of people already trade like that, and so can you, okay? So just dig into it, and as you see, it's the same stuff. Go over all the material we gave you so far, and you will see everything is there. Everything, day in and day out. Of course, there's not clean days, 100%, But if it's clean like this, then take it. Chiyu Friday, picture perfect. There's no excuses. Take it. Okay? So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed it, and cheers. Catch up later.